Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everybody, and welcome to Pangolin, the Conservation Podcast, the show dedicated to amplifying the amazing, wonderful, inspiring, interesting, incredible, I'm running out of descriptors, conservation stories that inspire me, your host, Jack Baker, and I hope will inspire you too. On last week's show, we met Jessie Jordan, an artist and conservationist who is based in Ranamafana National Park in Madagascar. Well, today she is back and she is going to be telling us even more about her incredible work with tourism and art and bringing conservation to the community in which she is based. On top of that, she is also joined by two of her colleagues, Diamondra and Hery, and they are going to tell us about their role in this tourism industry and how they have taken tourism online. During the pandemic, they kind of struggled to think about what they're going to do to kind of help make some money for the charity and the organization that they're working for, and they ended up taking tourism to this new space online, allowing kind of the world to experience things in Madagascar from their home. They also have done something really interesting, which is engage the local community around them. Since they couldn't have people in to visit them, they have been, engaging with local stakeholders and local communities and trying to just raise this awareness about the environment that they're in and grow the people around them's love and appreciation for that environment. And there's so many good stories. There are a couple funny moments. There's so much going on in this episode. I'm so happy that you are now able to listen. So anyway, for now, I will wrap up and just say thank you so much for listening, and I really hope you enjoyed today's interview with Jessie, Diamondra, and Hery, all about taking tourism online during the pandemic. Thank you. Welcome back to the show. I am now joined by Jessie Jordan, who is an artist, conservationist, and educator who has used her creative talents to raise awareness about conservation issues and create a virtual tourism platform. As well as that, I am joined by Diamond and Hery, who are here to tell us about their work as guides and all sorts of other stuff that goes on, I'm sure, around the three of you working together. I'm sure we'll get a lot of good stories out of everybody. So, starting off, I wondered, I've kind of introduced you briefly there, but if we want to kind of quickly go around and introduce ourselves to the listeners, if we start with Jessie, do you want to introduce yourself and tell the listeners a little bit about your background?
Sure. My name is Jessie Jordan, and I came from Texas. I'm an artist, so I went to art school. But in 2010, the BP oil spill happened, and it made me really evaluate what I want to do with my career. So I thought, well, I need to do something to protect the environment using my creative skills that I've learned in art school. So I started volunteering at a bunch of different places, and I ended up working at a zoo. And then I found out they had a graphics design department, and which I had no idea existed. So it's combining your creativity with teaching the public about different animals. And then that led to a scientific illustration program that I did in California. And from there, I met a woman named Dr. Lori Marker, who does cheetah conservation work. And she said, come out to Namibia and help me with a children's book. And I did that. And I was like, wow, I just love working in the field. I want to do this all the time. So I illustrated a children's book, started working with zoos on graphic design projects, and met Dr. Patricia Wright, who invited me out to Madagascar, and the rest is history.
That is a really interesting. I wondered because I wanted to ask when I was doing my kind of research, I saw your poster, the Cats of the World poster, and
Mm-hmm.
it's really I was kind of intrigued as to what the inspiration was for that, and now the past life of working with cheetahs and kind of that interest
Yes. Yes, I
makes
made
sense.
that poster before I met Lori Marker. I've always loved big cats. I'm actually really surprised I ended up in Madagascar because there's no big cats here. Um, but that poster led me to the job with Dr. Lori Marker. So
Interesting. Yes, and I suppose if we go next to Harry, what is your kind of background?
Okay, so yeah, as I explained before, that Both of me and Diamondra is working in the same field here in Danmofana as a local wildlife guide since, let's say, 15 years now. And we love Ranamafana, which is one of the part of the rainforest, the last rainforest of Madagascar. And as this is one of the World Heritage by the UNESCO, so we were going on and on from this wildlife here in Danmofana. And then lately in 2009, I uh, get my permission to be a national guide and then start to go around Madagascar and try to see what interests me more than what I have here in Danumafana. And so I became like more attracted by the plants too, especially for the orchid species. So that's how made my specialization. And so I work with many people, which is orchid specialists and things, and especially botanical species also, especially the rainforest species of the trees and plantations. So this came well because of this pandemic, a part of the virtual tour program that we are working together with Jessie. So we have also another micro project of a reforestation project with making a little nursery. We start by very small nursery now, founded by someone from the Pivot, which is here, and friends of Jessie also, and friends of us here. And so that's what we are doing right now, waiting for the border open. And yeah.
Yes, that's a really interesting kind of collection of things that you've done. And I can, yes, I working in a botanic garden myself, kind of, there's something about orchids that is just fascinating and magical. And there's always my favorite thing when I'm in photographing. I could stand and look at them for hours, so I can understand why you would want to specialize
Mhm.
in that area kind of specifically.
Mhm.
And this, if we kind of jump over to last but not least, Diamonds, what is tell us about your background?
Okay, so as you say, most of people call me Diamond
Yes.
uh, from long time, but it makes me happy to hear that sound. Also, when I was in school, I am always a part of guy who interests more the wildlife because during that time there is like a class program where teach kids or young people to be how to say it interested in more the wildlife or nature, and we receive in the other side book, lots of book of nature, and that teach me more about nature and interest me also. And when I am older, after getting my bachelor, I start to learn in high school, and in during this time where I focus more in ecotourism, and I don't do long time. I am quickly back to my forest here in Ranmafan, and it makes me happy to be here because there are lots of things that I miss. I don't see in the big city.
Mm.
I have to go back here, and when I am here, I got a lot of uh, nice view because it interests me also the as well I am a photographer. There are lots of beautiful things where what I don't find in the city as a big building everywhere. Here it's really green and you can create lots of things, even insects. That's interesting in the water around of the river landscape. It's really interesting also. So that's why I am really happy to be here in Ranmofan from as Hery side 15 more than this what I work in here. 22 years I was here as a guide. Then it makes me, how to say it, um, enjoying to be in Ranmofan today, this morning I
Sorry,
am
hold on one second.
I have been.
That's a ringtone. That's not an actual bird.
I was going to say that it sounded like an actual bird for a second. I was like, that's really lovely background noise for what you're saying. And then
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, yes. Please continue.
So this morning, because of the pandemic time, it's so long that for me not to be in the forest. But I lead Malagasy people as a tourist coming to Ramafan. Then when I was there, really open view because everywhere really greenish and even the path where we pass through the forest, it's really different than the time that we are there before. I want to say that things because I interest more the wildlife and I am a photographer. So it's really uh, like a passion to be all time inside of the forest or everywhere around here. That's the part of my life. And in another way also, uh, here in Ramafan, we lead a little school, like a class. There are around 100 kids inside of this school. And that in that way, we have to teach these kids to interest also the environment. It starts by step, but we hope it will grow more and more. And one a day, I already imagine or have that things in my mind that these kids will be taught by Jessie or Hery or anyone as a guide to to know more how to protect. We need to keep this forest because if not teaching these kids as well, it will be hard to 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 have it as long as possible because the climate change is really quick, make change in the world. So here in Ramafan, we still have water, we still have forest, and lots of things that people don't have. So we need to teach all of these kids to to learn how to protect it. Even no parent there, but we are their parent.
That's really, really interesting and inspiring. And there's so many questions that I think I'm going to have about that. But we'll pace. I'll not focus entirely because if I started asking all of the questions I wanted right now, I'll probably go all over the place. So I'll try and stick to a rough structure. But that's so interesting and so inspiring. And I wanted to start, or my plan was to start talking, beginning kind of with Jessie and talk about kind of her work with art and kind of using that to inspire people, and then we can come back at the end and talk about your work with inspiring children and the next generation and things. So if we start, I guess, yes, with Jessie, as I've said, I think a lot of people first assume that to be a conservationist, you have to do science, science, science all the way. And I wondered, you kind of touched on it briefly. We mentioned it a little bit in your introduction there. I just wanted to ask, had conservation always been in your mind when you were going through school and learning about art? Or was it something that you kind of did the two worlds of kind of art and conservation? Can you tell us about how they met and how what projects you've worked on now because of that kind of combination of things?
Yeah, I've always been obsessed with animals and nature, and I thought I people would ask me, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I would always say, "Oh, I want to be a zoologist." And I always loved the sciences and art. And now, looking back, I'm realizing science and art go hand in hand. You need art to explain science. So I loved science in school, but I excelled in art. So that's kind of the path that I went down. But science and animals were always the theme for me.
Yes. And what kind of projects are you or have you worked on recently? I think my favorite, the one that I've seen of yours, is the poster that you did for the kind of tours of all the, I think it was 50 endemic species, the forest near you. That could you tell us a little bit about some of the projects
Yeah,
like that you worked on?
so when I came here to Madagascar, I was going into the forest a lot with the guides, and they were teaching me about all these amazing species here. And then after a couple months, I just really wanted to illustrate a scene that shows as many species as possible I can fit in there. So that took me 6 months to make. And then Dr. Wright and I printed a couple hundred copies, and we started distributing them in schools, and people were using it as a tool to tell stories about the forest, which I love seeing people gather around that and just talk about the wildlife.
It's it's kind of an interesting thing to kind of inspire people in that it's not a photograph. It's kind of leaves this kind of creative. It's kind of an interpretation of what's there, but in a way that's going to inspire people and kind of interest them in a way almost like a storybook would, because you can tell these stories and things throughout. It's really really interesting. Is there anything you're working on now in that realm, that art to kind of inspire people, or?
I have some like a freelance project. I can't really say too much about it right now, but it's with a client. We're doing a coloring book. And so he's like an influential person, like with, he's a naturalist. So he inspires kids and stuff to go into nature. So we're doing a coloring book about him. And I'm excited for that to come out. So
That is really, really interesting, actually, and kind of links perfectly onto talking about inspiring the next generation and inspiring people to kind of get in touch with nature, and leads very nicely onto the project that I guess the last year has been consumed by, which is your virtual tourism project. I wanted to ask, could you give the listeners a little bit of perspective on what the situation was prior to in the pandemic and prior to having to come up with this tourism platform? What was your day-to-day like back then? I don't know who the best person would be to talk about that. Who wants to take that one?
so these guys, they were guiding full
Yes.
time pretty much, but there's always like low and high season with guides. So tourism happens. What's the high season for you guys? When are there a lot of tourists?
High season.
July, August,
Yeah,
September.
July.
July, August, September.
So they get a lot of clients every day. They're really busy. And then that kind of falls off, and then they don't have much income the other part of the year. And so the pandemic happened, and that was the end of their low season. So they were already like, they were ready for tourism to come back already. And the pandemic happened, and we're still in lockdown. So they've had to search for new incomes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, I was going to say, what was it like for the two of you? What would your day? What would you do every day? If there was kind of people around, what would your day be? Would it be taking one tour group out? Would it be two or three? Or how busy would you be?
Yeah, we can do like at least 2 tours a day, like in the morning and afternoon, or also the night, because we are doing the night work too. It depending on the season too, because from July to November, for example, it's varies from like normal tourists to more specialized tourists, because like September, October is the starting of the birding season too. So it's getting even more and more busy, because we can start from 4 or 4:30 in the morning during that time for the people which is bird lovers, and depending on what. But also like if it's fall down like January, February, March, this is the best time for example, the orchid, as we told before, for the plants. And then there is some tourists coming during the what we say very low season. The only problem here in this area is it is the eastern Madagascar, so it's close by the ocean, the Indian Ocean. So we have the tropical depression to here as a natural cataclysm. So that doesn't allow people to come even if they want, because of the rainy seasons and cyclones and disaster with um, the natural cataclysm. So that heal the people to come during this 3-4 months between December to April. But anyway, there is some people that try to get here by adventure and to see, because they know this is the perfect season for the orchid, perfect season for the amphibian and reptiles too. It depends on what the people are interested to see here, because of the wildlife is very, very in big variety. So yeah. But then when the pandemic came, it's like the time stopped. The time stopped. Nobody, the borders are closed, the road is closed, even internal border were closed, especially during the previous year. We could not communicate each other from region to region, even the way to get food from one area to another area, which is interdependent. It's very hard. So this is the reason why when we talked with Patricia Wright and we talked with Jessie and everybody like kind of make like a conflict of idea on what exactly the project we can set up with the little project to make income. So the idea is focusing on like the previous clients and the other people who were here before, who saw this beauty before, and tried to contact them on online, and then try to tell them we are doing this virtual tour, and then we can always show you the nature. We can always convince you that we still have them, we preserve them, and they are still here, even from distance and online we can show you. And so this is where born the idea on doing the virtual tour. And then also uh, all of this is based on contact, on relationship, with the people abroad. So thanks Jessie knows also who to contact and knew who to propose the offer. And then now we start to work together also, maybe with the university or schools or who can be interested on that education, environmental education. And even we did the local environmental education by focusing to the little school, and then try to, when it was like internally open, and then we could like contact the school when the school get back, and then we could contact the school and then go to the forest and try to give them interaction with the nature, with the environment, and um, to invite them to get part of responsibility that it is just in their first hand. And this is even made it better, because when we were busy this previous year, we didn't think about that. We didn't have any. We didn't even have any idea to like convict the people, the local people. But then we just like serve the tourists and serve the foreigner people to show them the beauty of our own land. But the pandemic like lead us to go back to the local to teach them, and then to do something like that.
I also just want to say English is the third language here, so I'm really just impressed by these guys. They're sometimes they speak better than I can. So Malagasy here, and then most people speak French, and then some people, mostly the tour guides, can speak English, and then some Italian and German.
I've been interviewing people the last few days from Madagascar, and a couple of them have said at the end of the interview, "Oh, my English is not good," and I've sat the whole time and thought, "Your English is better than my English. I understood everything you've said. I don't know if you've understood everything I've said, but that's um, no, it's really really interesting, and I guess it's a while it has probably been a very challenging time, it's been a very good time for creativity and bringing people in who might not have had the chance to have experienced the wildlife previously, and kind of inspire them, and hopefully get them to want to work in kind of either similar fields or conservation or something when they grow up. I wondered, again, I have so many questions. If we start with the online aspect and bringing people in, has that been a big success? Have you found that there's been lots of people wanting to come and visit, as it were, even though they're online?
It's kind of been like a wave a little bit. So we get like an influx and then nothing. This past summer, when everybody, the rest of the world started opening up, and like it was kind of like an intermission in COVID before the Delta variant. People were so tired of Zoom. We were using Zoom because it has like this green screen feature, and we can put videos in the background. So we let's start from the beginning. We had this idea and we didn't know how we were going to do it. So we started experimenting and researching, and then we found out that Zoom could do the green screen feature, and then we could add audio in there. So it was really like an immersive experience. And Also, if you do like a certain subscription on Zoom, you can do like registration fees. So people could pay to register for these classes, or we could just do like, we could work with professors and do like like a one-time fee for their classes. But yeah, so we had Diamondra here, who is a very talented photographer and videographer. And we were just using a combination of stuff that we have filmed before. And then we were also taking time to go into the forest and just film new material. So we also have this growing archive of species that are not really well documented. So that's really, I really like that we have that now too.
Yeah.
So we can use this for however this evolves. We can use it for our virtual tour educational program or for other things. But yeah, there was a big, in the springtime, we got a lot of classes, and then summer it's stopped, and hopefully we'll get more for the fall. We'll get more virtual tours.
Yes, once all the schools and things start to go back around the world after their summer breaks, hopefully there'll be a good update. If people are interested, actually, while we're chatting about it, where should they go to look at the website if they want to kind of sign up for one of these tours? Where should they go?
So you can go to our website at ranamafanatours.com, or you can visit our Facebook and Instagram and just send us a message, and we'll be happy to speak with you on what your needs are, and then we can do it.
Perfect. And I'll make sure to put links to all of those in the description for the episode for this, so that people can just click straight on them. And if they don't want to search, it'll be nice and easy for them just to click a button and they'll be able to be there. And yeah, that's really interesting. And hopefully, yes, as you say, there'll be more people visiting online. And then also you'll have maybe when it's been quieter, you've been working with the local communities. What kind of things do you do with the local kids and the local schools and stuff?
Yeah, okay. So I've been doing this virtual tour program with this small group of guides, the guides who are the most fluent in English. And then there's 57 guides in the association. So that leaves a whole bunch of other guides who are just waiting for a job. Mm-hmm. So we decided to put together a fundraising campaign, and then they get paid to take school groups into the forest. And we worked with Madagascar National Parks, the director, and the school groups, or the school directors. And the teachers loved it. They came with the students, and they go into the rainforest for like 2 to 3 hours. We pay for the transport. We have some snacks. They have to wear masks. We have hand sanitizer. And then the guides, we had a meeting with all of them to make sure that they know to talk about the importance of the rainforest, why it's important, on top of just explaining cool things about the animals and the plants. And then at the end of the hike, we have like art stations set up so that they can draw or write down their experience in the forest and then take it home as a souvenir.
Mm-hmm. That's really, really interesting, actually. I guess, have any of you been running the tours yourselves? Have you been out and kind of doing these things, or has it been other tours? And if you have been running them, has it been fun? What have your experience been like? I think it's been really fun and good to engage the kids.
Yeah, this program is kind of like also seasonal, because nowadays in Madagascar school ends, and very recently even we went to try to set up some program to make it, because we wanted to do the whole area around the Ranamafana area, because in total we have like at least 18 different villages with schools, primary and secondary schools, and even with lycée, with high school. So we have been doing, let's say, about 50%.
We've done all of the schools in Ranamafana.
And
the village of Ranamafana. So that's the big village. And then we started doing some schools on the west side of the park, which hasn't gotten as much education as the east side of the park. So all of the kids on the west side of the park, this was their first time into the forest and seeing lemurs, and they were just, their eyes were wide, their jaws were just like.
But then we wanted to do also something like more professional with this environmental teaching, because of some of them are people who is like, for those who is in the high school, for example, or even university in Madagascar, like they can come during the normal years. Lots of universities and other schools all around Madagascar came to visit the park, and we got the idea from that, because some of those university when they come, it's something like they are a group of the environmental department, for example, and they have something to focus on, like a theme to focus on. So we are about trying to do something like that also for the other kids who is here, because of that makes them like more clear to to convict them on how to teach them, how to tell them the importance of one thing compared to the other thing, and something like that.
Yeah, and a lot of students don't realize that lemurs are only found in Madagascar,
Yeah.
and they're very surprised to hear that the wildlife here is so unique. So I think it's very important with the education initiatives all over the island.
That's It's I was speaking to somebody a similar experience. I was speaking to somebody from the Giraffe Conservation Foundation a few one of my last episodes, and they were talking about how they take kids out and they've never seen a giraffe before, and so it's amazing. This kind of I don't know. I think it's one of those things that when I'm a conservationist, I'm a kid who's always loved animals, basically. And then, so I always imagine, oh, everybody must love animals, and everybody must have been out and seeing these things and experiencing these things. So I mean, it's interesting to hear that that isn't the case, and that it's great that you've been giving them the chance to experience those things and learn these things. Do they always? I imagine they always walk away with a smile on their face, feeling very, very happy and kind of amazed by it all. Yeah.
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 Also, I want to say I've seen lots of kids or lots of young guys here. Even they have seen everyday animals.
Mm.
It's hard to believe that. How is it possible? How to teach them to interest of these things?
Mm.
Because every people are not similar. Some can be understand that these animals are really important. There is we need, or our life need this animal also. But some people are not realize how is the importance of these things around. I mean the wildlife, and we need in this program that help kids to focus more on even drawing plant or drawing animals that fixed really in their mind, and they can remember it during long time that they have already drawing or they have seen already, for example, bird or plants or even a little leaves or uh, chameleon, even birds. They have seen it and they have already draw it, and that keep inside in their mind, and they will remember and they bring it during their life and teach to their surrounding or their family that they have seen, or yeah, little story. It will not uh, forgetting.
That's really good. It's a good way to make a connection, and it must be really satisfying, I guess, for you, Jessie, to know that art is something that's really helping connect this message for the kids. And I guess, do you help them with the drawings and the creation of that sort of thing?
Yeah, I try not, like, sometimes I'll do like a step-by-step drawing, but a lot of times I show them my poster and I say there's no such thing as bad art, it's just a way to express your experience and remember what you see and what you observe. So for me, making art, I've always felt that it helps me have a deeper connection and understanding to whatever I'm drawing. So I'm hoping that that will help these kids that we're working with too.
That's yes, and it's good that you're a kind of professional artist as well. I used to run a summer school for kids for to teach them about things, and whenever we were making posters and drawing, they would often ask me, "Oh, could you draw us a rhino or a koala or a bear?" And I can't draw these things. I'm not good enough to draw those things. So it's good that you have the experience to do it well, and teach them well. Um, I guess we've talked a little bit about orchids and Hery's interests. For the other two of you, what are your particular interests? What are the things that you enjoy showing the kids most and kind of engaging them with?
Okay.
Wait, are you asking Hery or us?
Well, both. Well, he said orchids before,
Yeah.
but is there something else? Is anybody?
I will tell
Whoever has a good answer.
Things of the-
Okay, so most of the kids, like, they see orchids. They
Yeah.
don't know where is the orchids coming from, especially how to keep them alive. Because when people say flower, a natural flower, everybody wants to keep it, but they don't know why. They don't know how. So this is the more big engagement that I have to tell them in the forest when I'm coming with them in the forest and show them where is the orchid. Because sometimes if they talk about plants, they just like look in the ground, in the floor, which is for orchids, 70% of them is growing in the trees and it's epified. It's growing in symbiosis with trees or rock or dead wood or something like this. So this is how we could tell them and invite them to see the tree, how the tree preserve the orchid and not cutting the tree every time and things. And this is why when we also had the idea about building the little nursery, the trees, and so we decided to like select the food of the lemurs, which is the native trees, food of the lemurs in the forest, to be planted in the nursery. And we have an idea also to connect them with the school because that makes them influenced to be participative on the conservation of the rainforest because of if we give them the nursery because they have lands around their school, so we can invite them and teach them how to plant a tree
Mm-hmm.
and how to can see them growing with them and studying them day by day and with our control also.
Mm-hmm.
So these trees also can hospit the orchid, and then the orchid they can see everywhere is from the forest. So that's it. And so it's very good if we start from the base and then from the very small kids, and then they get like engaged to protect the nature and to conserve the nature. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the relationship between
Mm-hmm.
work and then people's engagement. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. And Jessie, what about you? What if we go to you next? What's the maybe the thing that you enjoy showing the kids most? What is the animal or plant or which of the things do you enjoy? Or you're
No,
shaking your head. For people at home,
I
she shook her head
know.
because clearly she loves them all.
Yes. Well, I think every day is a little different, like every day the species changes. But I really love lemurs because they're an umbrella species. So if you teach about lemurs and protecting lemurs, they protect all these thousands and thousands of other species too.
Yeah.
And they're also like nature's reforestation people, not people. Reforestation, what is the word? They're seed dispersers. So they are naturally creating the forest and spreading seeds. So I just love them. They're cute too.
Yes. And last but not least, I always seem to go to you last, but Diamond, what about you? What is your favorite thing to show the kids?
For mine, yeah. Before I start to tell you that things, after I would like to add also a little story that happened last night. So now I would like more to show kids about reptile. Lemurs and bird are there, but I enjoy more reptile because my favorite animals is the leaf-tailed gecko. I think you have seen it.
Yes. Yes.
The leaf-tail
So
gecko.
there are lots type of leaf-tailed gecko, and we have those things here in Grand Mofana National Park. And I enjoy that kids would be possible for them to find or to search by their own where to see it. In the beginning, it's really hard, but I I suppose to tell them, is it possible for you to find leaves, animals similar as leaves in this forest? And if I have seen it already, I don't say directly that there is animal. I ask them, is it possible? You have to find it. inside of this, I make a circle fence sign, and they have to find it by their own. And they can be proud at the end to find it by their own, this animal, because it's really hard. And to compare it, is it really leaves or is it animal? We can't touch them, because if we touch, it make them frightened maybe. Yes, for sure. But just to show that it is animal but not leaves, and they have to mimic or to take the similarity as leaves shape, not as camouflage, not to find by predator or bird, something like that. And the short experience that I spent last night with friends of me. One of the guy is a driver from Tana, work together, use live with me here in Ramafan, and he leads a family of him as a friend also. They are four together. And yesterday he asked me, is it possible to do night walk? I said, yes, why not? And then at 6 p.m., we start from the village and going straight, driving until the place where we have to do the night walk. It's like 6 kilometers from the village. And after it, I ask them to bring their own torch. And I have to show how is the night walk. It's hard for them because they haven't been there. The driver, yes, but the three of those people haven't been there. Then I explain we have to see a little things or big things, animals, maybe lemur, and we have to shine by the torch. It can be possible to find the eyes of the animal if it is lemur or fossa or reptile like a lifted gecko. But if it is chameleon, we have to find the shape of the body. So it is not easy, but they interested and they know how to find it at the end in one way. And in the other way, I also start to teach them how to know about this animal, not only to see face to face, but I ask them to take picture. They don't bring camera, but with the help of the phone that they have, because that's easy. Everyone can have phone, and I explained that it can be possible to take a very good picture by your own phone, but you take by your own first, and I will see how it works. If it is okay, I just explain a little bit how to make sure that you bring a good result from Ranmafan. And if not, I will show or teach them how to focus and how to have a good size of this picture. And that stay in mind as well, similar as the kids' story as I told to you. They love it. They really like this tour at the end. And they find by their own, even they ask me, is it possible that we can find by our own a chameleon or a gecko? Because we have seen two gecko, two leaf-tailed gecko, male and female in one trunk. And one of them have seen that leaf-tailed gecko. They are so happy. And it's like a little story, but people interests because some Malagasy people has a possibility to spend their holidays out of the city now. Not everyone, but as well they have, and they come here in Ranmafan. And when they come here, the one of the role that we have as a guide here in Ranmafan, not only sharing or telling them that there is the pool, like a swimming pool, or there is the market, or there is the village, but there is so many different things that we have to see also. So
Yeah, and I think I just want to add one thing to that too. It's really important to educate the people in the city too. There's a city on the west side of the park, Fianar and Sua, and they rely on the electricity from the water from the river here in Ranama. So as we're cutting down the trees on the west side of the park, the water levels get lower and lower. So it affects the city too, but they might not necessarily know that that's the connection. So it's important to educate everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, and that was a really nice story and a good way. I guess it's all about whether it's a memory or a drawing or a story or a photograph. It's all about giving these kids and everybody something to take away with them to remember, and yes, it kind of keep learning and keep inspiring, and then they can maybe go and show it to other kids or to their grandparents or to friends or to whatever it is, and just kind of get everybody talking, which is a really nice way to do it and a really nice way to kind of keep inspiring people. I guess one of my last questions for you was, obviously the online tourism and the local kind of conservation effort, or the local kind of engaging the local communities, started because of the pandemic, and I wondered what the longer term plan was once the world goes back to a bit more normality. What the plan was? Are these all projects you hope to continue, or is it something that, yes, what are you thinking going forward?
Yeah, I would like to continue it because still, like, even when tourism is booming here, it's still a very small amount of people who get to visit Madagascar. So I still think this is a great way for the international community to connect with the local community here. So I do want to keep doing the virtual tours, train these guys to be able to do it on their own, get the equipment for them so that when it's time for me to leave, then they can take over. And the website is for them. So whenever borders open, we can change and adapt it. If they want to do like their own camping experiences, maybe tourists can book their own experiences through Ranamafana tours instead of through other places maybe that are run by international people. So it's all about empowering local people. That's the core of our mission.
Perfect. And I just want to say, oh yes, yeah.
It makes me remember when I was in school, just to doing like that, to ask a question. Yeah, during the time that we spend in, because Jessie already told about photography and material equipment. The only one camera that we have during the time that I use it, yeah, it's from long time. It's a Canon one, but it is not how to say it. During the humidity are very high here, and we use that fins a lot to help to support the guide. And now the camera has problem.
Yeah, so
because it not work well. And when the temperature is too high, it's happen because me and Hery, few months ago, we took a picture in the forest and in the little village. It's like a movie, and even few minutes temperature high, the camera is off. And now I feel it's, how to say it, we can't work very well with that fins. As well, also, the lens was dropped. Yeah, I don't know why, but the first time I drop in my lens, and it's broken. And one of my friend has a specialty to repair it, but even repairing, it not work well as I want.
That's a challenge in Madagascar, is getting the right resources and equipment. So we have a combination of using what we have and working with what's available here. So we hopefully with future tours we can put together some savings so that we can get some better equipment and keep getting new material.
Yeah.
So that's our goal.
Yeah. And that kind of brings me to a good last question for this main part of the interview. If people want to support your kind of work and help you kind of do these things, we mentioned them before, but what can they be doing at home to support you and your work? Where can they go? What can they be doing?
I mean, again, visiting our website, contacting us, sharing what we do. A lot of our clients have been like word of mouth too. So like one professor will take our class and then they'll tell their other professors. And so it's usually like people in like ecology, primatologists. We have a lot of lemur footage. So what we can talk for 1 or 2 hours on lemurs alone, and we have enough footage and sounds. So yeah, it's basically word of mouth. So if people want to donate, partner with us, we had someone who was interested in funding a tree nursery, and they contacted us. They work with us here in Ranomafana. So yeah, just contact us.
Yes, as we have learned, we can be very chatty for an hour at least. So there's
Yeah.
about to be. I feel like we've just scratched the surface, and there's so much more that you can tell everybody about. But yes, that kind of brings us to the end of my questions. Thank you so much for your time, and yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very
We
much.
appreciate it.
And we are back. Thank you so much for listening. And I really hope you enjoyed today's interview with Jessie, Diamondra, and Hery. It was so incredibly insightful, and I loved the kind of aspects of art telling stories and this creative energy that ran through the whole episode, whether it was in kind of raising awareness through art or taking tourism online or engaging local communities. This whole creative energy around tourism really just is exciting and interesting, and I really hope you all enjoyed listening to it. Of course, I cannot thank my wonderful guests enough. They were just fantastic, and they had such incredible insights, and it was such a good dynamic. It was a little nerve-wracking, I have to admit, interviewing 3 people at once, but it was just, they made it so easy, and it was so comfortable, and it was just fantastic. So thank you so much to them. As I said in the interview, you will be able to check out all of their links in the description of this episode, so please go down there, check it out, consider booking one of the tours that we have talked about, and yeah, just really support them, because the work that they do is fantastic and wonderful, and yeah, I really would love for you guys to go and check it out and learn a little bit more. Unfortunately though, that does bring us to the end of today's episode, so all that is left for me to do is kind of wrap up. Of course, you can find us on social media at Pangolin Podcast, and you can follow us on your podcast streaming service of choice, whether that be Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever it is you listen. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the future episodes. Also, I should tell you a little bit about the next episode, just to pull you in. The next episode, we kind of build even more on this theme of tourism, and it's one of my favourite episodes we've ever recorded, I think. It's only about 12 minutes long, but it is packed with such amazing information, and it's because we have Dr. Marnie Lafleur of Lemur Love comes in, and she gives us a quick guide to responsible tourism. So what we should be doing on social media, what we should be looking out for when we go abroad, what kind of ecotourism practices we should be engaging in. And it's absolutely fascinating, and I am sure you will all love it. Anyway, thank you once again so much for listening. And yes, to conclude, I suppose we have our lovely sign off this season, which I really love. So let's make it as grand as possible. Thank you once again for joining us as we explore the land of the lemurs. Thank you.